What's up, Capoeira Nation? Welcome back to the Capoeira Experience Podcast. Once again, thank you so much to every single of you that is listening to the podcast and supporting the podcast, of course, for this year, which is I can't believe it's already a year. So to continue with the female series, I'm having this great female capoeirista. She started capoeira in 2008 at the U.S. Air Force Academy in Colorado Springs with Capuraginga. And then after she moved to Texas, she also found Capuraginga classes over there, getting her first score at that school. And then she moved to North Carolina, teaching for about 2 years. And now she's in Miami, Florida. And let me introduce you to Amazona from Capuraginga. How are you doing?
Good. How are you today?
Pretty good. Thank you so much. Thank you so much for being here, and thank you so much for your service too.
Hey, it's my honor and my privilege, both for the service and to be here. I was super excited to get your message.
Nice. Yeah, like we were talking of recording. We are connecting from so many friends around two of us, and finally we get to meet each other.
Yeah, even across the world too. Like not just Florida, but everywhere, coast to coast, and Brazil.
Yeah. Oh, Brazil too. Oh, yeah. Coral. That's true.
Coral.
That's awesome, man. Capoeira. I love capoeira. That's why somehow we all of us are connected to someone.
Yeah, for sure. That's
Yeah.
one of the reasons I stay with it and love it so much.
Same. All right, perfect. So, for people to know who you are and all that, what is your social media so they can follow you?
It's Kelly Amazona on Instagram, and then Kelly Lynn Amazona for Facebook.
Nice, awesome. And okay, and I usually start all the interviews with a little story of like your background from your beginning of your capoeira story from the beginning until today. Like, what is your capoeira story?
Got stories for days, man. Take it free. So I'm still in the military. I'm in the Air
That's
Force.
awesome.
I went to the Air Force equivalent of West Point, and I started taking Portuguese classes. One of the days in the Portuguese classes, our professor brought in capoeira teacher from Colorado Springs, which happened to be Mestrando Mago and
That's
Professor
awesome.
in Casa from Capuraginga. They were Capuraginga.
Okay.
And I just got the great opportunity to take a capoeira class, my first ever, in my Air Force uniform, like boots and everything.
Oh wow, really? Wow, that's
Yeah,
awesome.
and I just have this great memory of doing AUs around the stage, like the gym, like where we actually did the class. We went to the auditorium and did the class in the auditorium stage. So like trying to throw kicks and boots was
Wow,
definitely a
super heavy,
challenge.
huh?
Yeah.
I bet.
Great training though. It's like training with weights on your ankles.
True.
And then from there, during the summer, I trained with them when I could. Like I was like every single day I was hooked. And then after I
That's awesome.
graduated, I went to Brazil. I went to Brazil to Salvador for a
Okay.
volunteer trip. Trained. I found Gingamundo. I think Professor Chipa was still down there at that time
Okay.
because I remember him,
Okay.
which awesome class. Trained with guys on the beach, trained wherever I could. I jumped into Whaddup randomly.
That's so cool.
Came back from Brazil, went to Sao Paulo
Okay.
for language training for the Air Force. Trained every day down there with any group I could find. Came back, moved to Texas,
Yeah,
and found Capuraginga in Texas. And I was just like, this is meant to be. So I
that's
started
awesome.
training with Mestando Advogado and got my first cord in 2011, I believe.
That's so cool. That's so cool. It's like destiny.
Nope, 2012.
Oh,
2000,
2012. That's
yeah.
awesome. That's awesome. What because the military, like you have to like be like very focused when something come to task, right?
Correct.
And how do you like what attract you in capoeira like those first classes?
Um, the mix of everything from movement. I played sports growing up. I played sports from the time I was like 2. My
That's
dad had
awesome.
me out in the front yard hitting a little wiffle ball off a tee for
That's
baseball.
awesome. That's awesome.
in diapers. No. So I loved the physical aspect. I love that I could push myself. I love that there was always a new thing to develop with my body. I loved the interaction. The connection with other people was something I was really missing in my life at
Yeah.
the time. And just because I moved around so much from the time I was little, like developing those connections with other guys in my group and my mastery, and then just anywhere you go, like you can show up any capoeira house anywhere in the world and go, vou jogar capoeira, posso jogar com vocês? And it's just like you're
Yeah.
in
Yeah.
play. It's an automatic connection.
Yeah.
So it was really, in the music, I love that it ties in music and history, because history for me, my family's history is something
Oh,
that is
cool.
important to me. So the history that of Afro-Brazilian culture uh, really fascinated me.
Yeah, it's a very long history of many stuff.
Yes, and I actually, that was actually my major. So
Oh,
Latin
cool.
American history was my major in college, and then Latin American international relations was my master's.
Wow, that's awesome. So you study like for real, like history.
Yeah, I wrote multiple papers on Brazil socioeconomics and governmental
Wow, that's awesome.
citizens and the slave trade.
That's awesome. Wow, that's pretty cool. And did you get to see any like couple information on those papers? All the information that you were researching.
So I didn't, at the time, I didn't realize some of the stuff that I was reading, how it connected to capoeira. But going back and looking at some of my textbooks now and talking to other capoeiristas, especially a lot of the mestres I've met in Brazil, I see um, where the underlyings of Afro-Brazilian slave culture really played into the culture that's published. Because
Okay.
a lot of capoeira Afro-Brazilian culture isn't published, right?
Yeah.
I read a good advogado recommended I read Children of God's Fire, which of course is like that thick, but
I bet.
it doesn't have a lot of direct references to capoeira, but it was really interesting to me to see how the culture and the bonds between slaves enabled the creation and the continuance of capoeira, and how they created families, and how they really formed a resistance that turned into a community and turned into.
Wow, that's awesome. That's awesome. And it's funny that like I always ask everybody like I always tell you like the little bit of story of you so I can have an intro for you so I can and kind of I make the questions around that and then but now that we're live I didn't know this about history about your background in history and that's pretty cool because when I went to Fortaleza in August I met Mr. Francesina
Okay.
and she talked about those like the history, the woman and in capoeira, and it's kind of funny how like I don't know at some point of people telling the history or like because as an African culture, I guess, is very like mouth to mouth. It's not like a specific paper on a specific day. Oh yeah, in 1872 this happened,
Yeah.
and she said and those researches that she did, there were women that they tied up their skirt and they jumped to the hood. And I was like, man, that's crazy. I never heard those kind of stuff. Well, he said there's something where you saw on those papers or those researches where woman was like compressed or kind of like like not step down. I don't want to sound like mean, but it's like cover up. You know.
So again, just to preface this, a lot of my research was more from academic
Yeah.
socioeconomic perspective, so not
Yeah.
specifically capoeira.
Mhm.
And that's kind of just the culture from what I've researched and what I understood. It was Portuguese influence, Dutch influence, and women historically just didn't have civil rights.
Yeah, yeah,
You throw in the you throw in the ethnic social factor. Um, so it, African slave women were seemingly treated as property. And slaves
yeah,
were
yeah,
property. So women were even less than that because they weren't strong. They weren't, they weren't as strong as men.
yeah,
They weren't capable of working in the fazendas.
yeah,
They couldn't earn money in that way for their masters. So they were just objects for housework or objects for pleasure.
yeah, yeah. Exactly. Yeah, that's what I learned from history too. The thing is like my question goes together because capoeira is pretty much the what I learned these almost 19 years of doing this is capoeira usually is the reflection of the culture that we live around. So capoeira is very adaptive. So capoeira adapts to wherever
Yeah.
you are. Is like is similar to wherever you came from or wherever you train, but it adapts. So has the capoeira in New York is not the same capoeira in LA, and even in different cities is capoeira adapts. That's what I'm saying about the history, the woman in the history.
I get that. I get
Yeah,
that. I would, if I can, I would add that I would say capoeira has the ability to create, not just
absolutely,
adapt, but
absolutely.
people, their groups, their philosophies, what they bring, they can really create something. And that's where the transformation and evolution that at least that I see
Oh
really
yeah,
comes in.
oh yeah, and capoeira keeps evolving, and who knows how he's gonna be here to 100 years, and because
It'd be beautiful.
I bet and huge and because I'm pretty sure Mr. Bimba didn't know capoeira was about to be what it is today. He just like I want this to change, but I'm just gonna make a change, and today's day is evolving so awesome, and I just love this.
Oh, for sure. Like who would, it was illegal in his time. It's
Exactly,
crazy that
exactly.
he just stuck with doing what he loves and he was real about it and he put
Yeah,
himself into what he loved because that was
exactly,
being his authentic self and like look what he created. That's crazy.
exactly. Yeah, and it's funny like every time I teach a new class, I always say like thanks to of course many masters got involved on that time, but what the most known is Mr. Bimba. So it's like thanks to this really smart guy, is he didn't say capoeira is just luta regional baiana, and he said like is capoeira, but I'm not gonna call it capoeira. I'm just gonna on paper or by mouth. I'm just gonna call it luta regional baiana, and then he's like, oh, okay, yeah, I guess, and then keeps it's the exact same thing, but just different name, and then of course came back to capoeira with the time. It's just like is funny how like a little thing can change something for drastically.
But this, that's to me, that's the beautiful thing about teaching, right? I mean, I talked about this with a lot of teachers because I train all over the place. And I always ask them, like, how do you inspire your students? Like, one
That's a
person,
great question.
one teacher has the ability to be that game changer for all of their students, for dozens of people. And it's all about them, like, being there, that support, them caring for their students and just passing what they know because they love it.
Yeah,
That's
yeah,
one thing, right? One person, one simple act, like pushing someone to train harder in class or just inspiring them or sharing what you know with them is then a game changer for them because they can turn around and pass it or use it
exactly.
or leverage it.
Yeah, exactly. And is I guess the passion of that connects like touch people, that touches everyone in some way somehow, and kind of like attracts them. Like I remember I was having the conversation with Mr. Chuisquinho,
Yeah.
and we were talking about the energy in capoeira, and he's just like, man, he's just like the energy is so awesome that makes people move, and it's just like everybody's connected at the same energy level, and you get goosebumps, and everybody's just jumping around. You can buy the game and never get tired. And after the hot, it's like, yeah, I just want to keep playing. It's
I'm
just
getting
like,
goosebumps right now.
yeah, it's awesome. It's just like capoeira is such a powerful tool for everybody.
I totally agree. I I totally agree. I mean, it's interesting to me. Everybody that does capoeira loves capoeira. I mean,
Exactly.
that's it's where that energy comes from. Everybody loves it, and at the end of the day, I mean, you can be from Spain, you could be from the United States. I mean,
Yes.
it's that tie back to Afro-Brazilian culture and the sharing and the connection. Like you can come from different backgrounds. Doesn't matter where you come from.
Yeah.
You come because you love capoeira, and everybody
Exactly.
loves capoeira.
Yes, and we'll I always mention this in almost all the interviews that doesn't matter what kind of language you speak. If you start Jinga, we can speak the same language.
Yep.
It's just like awesome how this works. And so you don't know like which section of like history when woman kind of like start stepping up, because by that reference I can kind of like see when woman in capoeira, at least Brazil, when woman in capoeira, yeah, woman in capoeira start like stepping up and be like, like this is my spot.
So I think my thoughts on that. I don't know the history. I mean, I don't think there's any one point that stands out to me.
Okay.
I'm not. I don't want to say gender neutral, but I also think like everybody has the ability to get into the roda when they want to get into the roda.
Yeah.
I mean, you get from capoeira what you put into capoeira. So I really think that if I don't know if stepping up is the word I would use.
Yeah, exactly, yeah,
Maybe
like,
standing out. I don't know.
yeah,
There's just
oh,
maybe there's not a lot of women that stand out. I mean, I remember the first time I saw Mestre Joe, I
yes,
was like, dang,
I want to
dang.
play with her. Yeah,
I
I
want
know.
to play like that.
Yeah, same.
That was my first time like being exposed to a woman in capoeira where I just went, wow,
Yeah,
wow.
yeah, and I saw her. She went to Venezuela once,
Hmm.
and we got to see her, and we were like our mouth was just open. It's like she was really kicking everybody,
Yes.
and we were like, man, what is this? Like, this is so cool. Like, how can we get to play like you? Like, and I want to play with you so I can get to play like you. It's pretty cool. Yeah, but my question was more like socially and the history that you study, like social cultural in Brazil, because that's what I'm saying about like that, from my point of view, of course. Like, that's kind of like where I can see where women start like standing out and be like, like, this is my spot culturally. So I know kind of like capoeira could be like around that moment too.
I can honestly say I don't know if I ever like noticed a
Yeah.
specific point. I know the last I've been going to Brazil a lot over the past couple of years for work.
Okay.
And I realize every time I go, there's tons of women. Like there's tons of women at the rodas. There's tons of
Yeah.
women at
That's
events.
so cool.
They're so kind. I show up, I know no one, and I'm just like, I don't know if I should be here because I have that.
Yeah.
I mean, because everyone has their insecurities, right?
Yeah, of
But
course.
the women are always the first ones to come up, like, "Hey, tudo bem? Você é americana?" Like they're
That's
just like,
so
"Wow,
cool.
there's an American here training," and I'm like,
Yeah.
"What?"
Yeah.
And it that stands out to me as it's in the community, in the culture that in the vivencia that I
Yes.
had. I didn't notice that there was women not stepping up, or if they weren't, just because that was my first. I mean, my they were the one. They were super. Everyone was super welcoming.
yeah, but Brazilian community is very, very opening. It's like, oh, you're from there, that's so cool. Like, and then they start like asking like, how's stuff there? How does that work? And how's capoeira there? And then they create, they kind of like break the ice.
They do. They created
Yeah,
that openness and created that ability for me to really just be at ease.
yeah, that's how I felt in when I went to Fortaleza. I was like, because it's the first time I went there, and I didn't know how people would be, and like how they're gonna be like. Because usually when someone is new in the area, like, it happens everywhere. He's like, who's this guy? You know, right? And they say, who the heck is that? This guy? And then what's the completely opposite? He's like, everybody was like, hey, what's up, man? Like, who are you? And what's your name? Where you live? Where you came from? And he's like, man, that's so cool. This is pretty cool. It feels good.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. And now, I saw that you told me that you study Portuguese, right?
I did.
Yeah. And you did said something in Portuguese that sound like really good. Like if you speak Portuguese, I think you're Brazilian.
I
So
get that a lot. I
yeah,
actually I get that a lot.
which
I've
is
been
pretty cool. It is pretty cool. And now that you we associate language in capoeira, and just as a capoeirista, no as a studying the language and the culture and all that as a for work and capoeira too. How do you think how important is to speak Portuguese as a American born?
insanely.
Yeah.
Insanely. And I will be the first to tell you it is work.
Yes.
It is work. It is hard work. As I had an advantage because I already spoke Spanish. Um,
Cool.
and I have a girlfriend of mine who just like shout out to Sapina, by the
Oh,
way.
nice.
I have to do that.
Nice. What's up, Sapina?
She's yeah, she always she's always asking me like, how do I say this? How do I say that? How do I find better ways to study? Like that inspires me to keep studying too, because you know, like language, you can always evolve your study of language, but
Yeah,
especially
of
for
course.
capoeira, the more I learn about the language, the richer my understanding of capoeira becomes. The more I understand the music, the more I've started to create music or play around with the words, the better the conversations I've been able to have with um, with Mestre Advogado, with Mestre Loca, our group's mestre, with mestres traveling. Because there's words in Portuguese that just don't exist in English. They don't exist in
Yeah.
Japanese or even Spanish or
Yeah.
other Latin languages.
The Sutaki.
Yeah, so that ashe, like
Yeah. It's like
ashe.
yeah. Ashe is I don't know. I don't know how to explain to you Ashe. Come to the Hoda so you can see it.
Energy. I mean, it's energy,
Yeah.
but it doesn't have the same weight or the same conceptual understanding in English. And it's just ashe is that energy that really connects all of us. And I've
Yes.
tried to explain this to my mom, and she's super religious because she loves watching Capoeira now. And her first response was, "Oh, it's like the Holy Spirit." And I go,
Mm, well.
mm, that works for you.
Yeah. Well, if you understand it that way, okay, that works.
Okay, got it.
Yeah. It's like I don't know, like if you're a Star Wars watcher or if you like Star Wars, it's like the Force. So Star Wars. So
But
something
that,
like that.
but it's one of those things like language. It helps people relate. So the
Oh
more
yeah,
you understand Portuguese, the more you can connect to somebody. The more you can connect. You can connect through movement. I mean, that's the first thing. You show up in the Whaddup. All right, that
of
dude
course.
had a Jinga. All right, I'm a Jinga. We're gonna play.
Yeah,
But then the next level of connection and interaction and understanding is that language.
absolutely. Yeah. I agree. Like sometimes someone is singing a song and you don't know what is the song, but you kind of like pay attention and then you say, oh, the chorus is like this. Okay, I just repeat the chorus, and then it's like it's easier to catch stuff when you speak and you can communicate and all that.
Yeah,
So yeah, I would say also that is incredibly important to understand. At least like you can speak it, of course. It is important if you understand and speak. But if you can at least understand it, that's a big help for you to understand what you're doing.
agree. Completely
Yeah,
agree.
Yeah, and it's awesome. I just love capoeira and all the aspects.
I can tell. It's
Yeah,
awesome.
yeah,
It's pretty
yeah,
cool.
yeah. And so I now I'm stepping out a little bit of um the history and studies and all that. I see you always like pretty active on social media. W- w-
Um, I
yeah,
try.
yeah. At least like 2 3 times per week.
Okay,
Yeah,
that's pretty active for me.
exactly. So how do you keep that motivation? What is your motivation to stay active on social media with capoeira, especially?
On social media, it's accountability for myself. One, gonna be completely honest.
Okay,
If I know I'm training and I can get my videos on social media, it's accountability to myself to keep going. It's
that's
accountability
awesome.
to myself to really keep discovering what I want in capoeira for myself and for others, and what I want to create and how I want to create who I am in capoeira and who I am for others. And it was rough at first because I am not normally a person that wants to put myself out there,
Yeah,
but it's been really inspiring to hear from just people that have seen my videos or sharing with other people, even sharing the videos that I do with other capoeiristas or in chat groups where they're like, yeah,
yeah.
that's so motivating, thanks for
That's
the
so cool.
motivation. And it really made me realize, like, we're all
You never
just
know
here
who's watching.
to, yeah, you don't know who's watching, but
Yeah.
I mean, in the same way that other people's videos motivate me, I mean, I kind of realized, well, I actually motivate other people. Okay, that's cool.
I know,
That's
right? Yeah,
really
yeah.
cool.
That's awesome. Yeah, no, it is really cool. Is because like I said, you never know who's watching, and as sometimes that person watch your video and never liked it because he's like, I don't want to be too creepy and like it, like, or whatever thought goes through their head and be like, you someone is watching and be like, I want to be like this person.
Yeah, and that was, I mean, that was, it reminded me of like me watching Mestre Joe's
Exactly,
videos
exactly.
or but Pavon's videos or
Yeah,
Joy's videos. Like everybody that I've looked up to, it kind of hit me when I was talking to another monitor in a group, Junia, that there's people that look up to us now. Like
that's
it's
awesome.
it's really crazy. And even like even my family who knows nothing about capoeira, my mom started following me on Instagram just to
That's
see
so
the
cool.
videos, and now we have these really cool conversations about capoeira because it's just inspiring to me
That's so funny. That's so
how
funny.
curious she is about
Yeah,
it.
that's so cool. Like, because sometimes I don't know if it ever happened to you. Like, when someone randomly out of the street, they say like, "What do you do?" I do capoeira. Can you explain that to me? It's like,
Yeah,
well, you got like 10 minutes.
breakdance fighting.
Yeah, something like that.
Breakdance fighting is the
Yeah,
easiest response I've come up
ye-
with.
yeah, exactly. And that's a good response though, because is breakdance fighting dance slash
Music
everything
and
else music.
very
Yeah, because sometimes when people ask me like, what do you do, because they ask me like, what else do you do, and just, well, I also teach martial arts. Like, oh, what is that? Let me show you a video. Here,
yeah,
this is what I teach.
yeah. So it's so much easier to show sometimes.
Yeah, and be like, and people are like, oh man, that's pretty cool. Looks like a rain dancing. Like, yeah, you can say that. And you can, yeah, I guess you can say that. But you can try it too. And how I see that you're also pretty flexible too. And I right now I try to work a lot on my flexibility because I'm stiff, like very stiff. How many times per week do you train your flexibility, and how long?
Um, so I don't train it per se. I do a lot of foam rolling and I do a lot of stretching at home.
Oh, cool. Okay.
So I do a lot of cross training,
Oh, cool. Okay.
and that's kind of how I keep it up. And then
Okay.
really good warm ups. I have former Mr. Thiago showed me the value of a good warm up in Curaçao last October.
Oh, really? That's funny.
Yeah.
Like,
So
what would be a good warm up for you? What would you
so
say is a good warm up?
actually adopted the one he gave me, Aljinga, for 10 minutes and just do movement, nothing but movement. Shuffles quebrado, anything that will get some twist or some variation in my Jenga
Okay.
for 10 minutes. And then handstand warm-ups. So not straight into handstands, but like I'll mix in yoga moves, yoga
That's awesome.
stretches, and
Okay.
from different yoga positions go to handstands or go into fintas for meia lua, finta de queixada, finta de amada. And then from there slowly work into like ponchi.
Oh, okay. Cool. Oh, cool. Okay.
So
That
the
that's a.
days I do any sort
I'm
of
taking notes right now
bendy
and be
stuff,
like,
the
that's
days
awesome.
I do bendy stuff, I take about 20 minutes or so to warm up my back and legs and everything. Because
That's
my
a.
upper legs are actually super tight. My hamstrings are loose, but
Okay.
my quads are super tight. So I have to really
Okay.
warm up.
Okay. Okay. Yeah, that's what I need. Because usually it's very average in capoeira, where capoeiristas have a very messed up lower back.
Yeah, so that's where a lot of the cross training has helped me because I worked with a lot of guys in the military that do really physical operations.
Okay.
So they've taught me like you're really loosening up the hip flexor and the soleus
Oh, cool.
inside your hip bone really helps with loosening the pressure on your lower back. So I've
Whoa.
tried to
Okay.
study a lot of different, like not just capoeira, but I've tried to study different arts, different ways to increase flexibility, increase strength, or keep your muscles loose.
That's awesome. I this year, yeah. Let me see. The end of last year, I I got very interested in how's it called, animal flow,
Yeah,
and
I've seen that.
and and I was like, man, this is because I'm very restless. I cannot be static on one yoga pose. I guess like when it's time for me to move, then and it's hard for me to stay quiet on one position. That's why I love capoeira, because we're always moving.
Yep.
And when I saw Animal Flow is very like, it's like a combination yoga, capoeira, and movement and force and also I'm like, man, I really like this. And I started watching videos and reading around all stuff, and I was like, man, I really like this. This I think this is gonna help me for stretching and all that.
Has it? Do you like it?
A little bit, yeah, yeah. It's not. I'm starting getting into it. So is very nice how they teach the warm ups, the proper warm ups, like you said,
Mhm.
for you to be able to move how you need to move. And then like, oh, this one help me for capoeira, and then they move for the rest because they are a lot on their hands, and they're like, I can apply this to my class, and then I start connecting the dots, and they're like, this is awesome, this is pretty cool. Then slowly I'm getting more into it, and I really like it. If you try, you probably, I'm pretty sure you probably like it.
I will have to check that out.
Yeah, yeah. You located right now in Miami, right?
I do.
Yeah,
Mhm.
I think there is. I think it's called like a primitive flow or something like that. I think they changed the name there
Okay.
because copyright stuff. But I think it's called like primitive movement or primitive. But it's very it's the exact same thing as Animal Flow.
I for sure check it
Yeah.
out.
Oh yeah, you're gonna like it.
Maybe I can
And
get a video from it.
say what?
Maybe I can get a video from
Oh yeah, for sure. And be like capoeira.
it.
It's pretty cool. I've seen videos where guys they have like hashtag capoeira. And you're like, man, this is awesome.
Yeah. Okay. That even inspired me to go check it out.
Yeah. Oh yeah, yeah. Check it out. You're gonna like it. And how capoeira has been helping you these last years, where you say like, oh man, capoeira is really helping me to develop this in my life.
So, as I mentioned, when I started capoeira, I was really struggling with forming connections with people. Um,
Okay.
just because work is very professional,
Yes.
and I like to keep professional, and even within capoeira teaching, like there's a certain being that you want to create for yourself and a certain
Of
presence
course.
you want to have as an instructor and for your students. So I was kind of very hesitant to interact with a lot of people, and I just didn't. it didn't interact with a lot of people. I would show up to class and train hard and then leave every day. And
Okay.
and for me, just repetitive training and just showing up and other people being there, those other people, like my mestre advogado is one of the best friends I have. He's one
That's
of
so
the
cool.
oldest and longest best friends I have. Just for the fact that through capoeira, I was able to establish that relationship and develop that friendship into something where I'll just call and we'll just talk about, hey, I need to bounce an idea
Yeah,
off of you. Hey, what do you think about this? And it's the same with all the graduados and all the other guys in our group that they actually gave me my name because I didn't
that's
have
awesome.
the first name I got didn't stick because I would show up and train and then leave. And I always had like the serious expression on and I was military.
Yeah, yeah.
So they were the ones that were always very open with me and very welcoming and very loving. And they came up with their, that's the Amazon woman. That's Amazona.
Nice. That's awesome. That's a pretty good name.
So they were calling me that
Yeah.
before I even knew that was my nickname.
That's right. And so we say that's like kind of like like introversion, or more like you just wanted to keep that boundary at least at the beginning.
I was pretty introverted, and I guess it was
Same.
just kind of just kind of my personality as well.
Okay.
Training, I mean, it just kind of how I was trained. We moved around a lot, so it just that's how I turned out. Until and I guess it was kind of like within me too. I was kind of afraid to step out of who I was,
Yeah.
and capoeira really gave me that that playing that field, if you will, like that space to step out of who I was and be able to create something else and be able to be more than what I was.
That's pretty cool because I'm in the exact same page with you, because same thing. I used to be a very introverted kid. And like same. I used to do the class, capoeira class. I did it. I didn't even stay to the hoda because I didn't want it to stay. I didn't want it to be around people. And I was like, okay, well, I do the class and then leave. And then I do the class and then leave. And then one day I was like, well, I'm gonna stay 5 more minutes. And then people start clapping. Okay, I think it's time for me to leave. And then
Yeah.
a little bit 5 minutes, and then 5 minutes, and then until one day my mind was like, what time are you gonna get home? It was like really late. And then is same thing. Like capoeira brought out what I guess we can call it who I really am,
Mhm.
and brought out that personality. It's like, and same thing. I love this.
I was super competitive, so
That's
everyone
so
knows
cool. That's cool.
I was one that wanted to show up and kick everybody, but not talk. Not kick everybody because I never actually kicked, but I
Yeah.
played really, really, really hard. Like, and I played against myself instead of just accepting myself too. That was probably my biggest thing that I've been able to change through capoeira.
That's
Like I
awesome.
always wanted to be better, always wanted to be better, always wanted to be better. And then just years of staying with it. I mean, I finally realized like it's not about then getting the next trick. It's not
Yeah.
about getting the next floreo. It's about enjoying it where I am.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
And then
Yeah.
after that, it just, whew, that peace and that ashe and that flow.
Yes. Yes. And the goosebumps and the
Yes.
jumping is cool. It's cool. Once you get to feel that, it
Yeah.
feels really cool. And I had another question in mind, and it went off talking
You got
about
enough
the
flow. You got it.
yeah, yeah. It's like same thing. But yeah, capoeira changed the completely who I was. Like, oh, I remember now. I remember because it's funny how I see myself today, and I go back when I started, and I was like, man, that Kashishi is I can believe I came all this way. And because I remember last year, was it last year, I think, in April, Alfalfa and my wife and all of us went to Chicago to a capoeira event.
Yes, I
And
remember that. I wanted to
yeah,
go.
yeah, they were.
I wanted to go.
Oh man, it was awesome. It was pretty cool.
That was Colibri's event, right?
Yeah, 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 yeah. And then I was I was there the one in the group were like, okay, let's go this way. Okay, now let's go that way. Okay, and all of them started calling me the president because I wherever we go, I go and start introducing myself to everybody and like shaking hands. Hey, how are you? Who are you? Hey, I'm Kashishi. Who are you? And then everybody, then they start making fun of me because I was the president. Like I was talking to everybody. It's like, I'm not the president, man. I just like to talking to people.
That's awesome.
Yeah, yeah. And so now as a female capoeirista, what 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 do you think we can get better in the capoeira community, or the capoeira community can help the female capoeirista? Right now is amazing how the female is the female community is brightening, is way brighter than it used to be before. And you see many females posting videos as yourself and bringing up the female characteristic in capoeira. What do you think? How we can make it stronger as a community?
I would say encourage women to move through fear or their
Nice,
own
awesome.
self doubt. At least in my case, for me, my biggest struggle has always been that little voice in my head before when I walk up to a hoda of who I don't know if I should be in there. I'm not that big or that fast.
Yeah,
and,
yeah,
and I'm pretty big for a female. Like I'm a good size for a
yeah.
female.
How tall are you?
I'm 5'8".
Oh yeah, yeah.
Yeah, I'm 5'8", almost 5'9", and fairly solid, right?
That's very cool.
So, and then of course that voice in my head is just like, I don't know if I can keep up with them, and it's that self-doubt that you just that sometimes, I mean, everyone, not just women, but everyone really needs kind of maybe some encouragement or just some acknowledgement of, hey, you got this. Like, you're here because you love it. Do this for you. Be in the game. Like, pula pro roda,
Yeah,
porque
yeah.
yeah, it's what you came for, right? So enjoy
Exactly.
it. And I think for me, it's really awesome the encouragement I've got, because it definitely helped me get past like my
That's
own
awesome.
my own inner reservations or my self doubt.
That's pretty cool. That's pretty cool. And always be like having that friend with you and be like, hey, how many times have you played today? Do you play
Yeah,
video today?
accountability,
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
accountability for sure.
Yeah, lead the harder. If you have the tools to lead the harder, don't be afraid to lead and ask for like, hey, can I sing now? Like always trying to like, I don't know if you ever see like on the batteria and where they are like kind of like looking at each other and see who's gonna sing now,
Yep.
and then you just grab any beat and just be like wink, I'm like I got this.
Yes,
Yeah,
exactly.
yeah, just lead and no, don't be afraid because every single person capoeira goes through that,
Yeah,
and
for sure.
doesn't matter gender. Y-
Nope.
Everybody goes through that and be like, I'm scared to like kind of like sing today. And you know what? I got it. Just do it. Just jump to the hoda and same with the game and with the music and the instruments. Just do it.
It's oh yeah, I was petrified of picking up a beating balance. Not playing, but singing.
Yeah, yeah.
Absolutely just paralyzed with, oh my gosh, I don't know if I can do this.
Exactly, exactly. And the first time after when you're done, you're like, wasn't that bad.
Yes, yes,
Yeah,
yes. It
yeah,
really was
yeah. And the
exactly
sec
how it
and the
went.
second time, you kind of like hesitate again. You no, I did it the last time. It wasn't
Yeah,
bad. And then okay, wasn't that bad. And then you get used to it, and then you get used to it. Like same exact same thing like buying the hot. You nervous the first time, and the second time, and the third time, and not too much, and not too much until it comes out naturally. You just I'm gonna jump now.
no, for sure. And everyone, I mean, like you said, everyone has that. And I mean, I guess to go back to your question, women specifically, men and women process things different and they see things different. And
Absolutely.
sometimes like just that encouragement or that acknowledgement of maybe what's holding a woman back is all she really needs to go, all right, I'm here because I love this. Let's do this.
Yes. Yes. He's like, come on, you got it. Let's go. Oh yeah, oh, yeah, and I agree. I agree that is feels much better when the entire community is like pushing that. Is like, come on, you got it. It doesn't matter where you're from, state or city or country, anywhere.
Yeah, it's. I mean, men and women both show up to class and they train. If you train
Eh,
hard,
Oh yeah,
regardless of your gender, you're gonna get results.
exactly. Yeah, exactly. And the result is gonna be the same. It's just gonna be really good capoeira.
Yeah, and it doesn't. The biggest struggle for me, like one of the struggles for me again was I was like the guy's capoeira and was thinking, oh, I want to do that. I want to do those floreos. I want to do this. I want to do that. Okay, it's not impossible. I mean, I could train 50 hours a week and perhaps do a 540,
Yeah.
or I could develop my capoeira, develop my
Yes.
style. That's specifically my style, and that's okay. I
Oh
mean,
yeah.
that
Oh yeah.
because if I can really play my style and master my style, I can play with anybody else.
Yes. Yes. That's exactly what capoeira is. Like, and it just, I guess, because we keep uh, comparing ourselves with the social media, that we're like, man, these people on social media, they do those
Mm-hmm.
florillos, and like, man, I can do it. I'm not gonna post anything, or I'm not gonna do it. It's like, that's not the only thing about capoeira. There's many others, a huge color, full color of rainbow. And it's so many stuff that is beyond that.
Yeah, I so get that. So get that. I mean,
Yeah.
some of the most beautiful games I think I've ever seen. They're not tons and tons of floreos. It's the two people playing have such developed and controlled movements and
Yes.
expression, beautiful self-expression that really
Yes.
reflects who they are, and through their movements, even if it's like just kicks, movement, jinga, maybe one or two floreos, the way their two styles of expression interact is flowing.
Yes. That connection, that the connection of that flow is, and you get like, whoa, that's pretty
It's
cool.
on
That's a
point.
pretty nice game.
It's on point.
Yeah. It's like you wanna record it and keep watching it.
Yes.
Yeah. I've seen those games, and I'm like, man. And now, as a capoeirista, what advice would you give to the capoeira community, just in general, or that capoeirista is listening to this podcast right now?
Ooh, um, nice. I mean, that's the same advice that I always get. It's that I remind myself of, that Advogada gives me all the time. You get
Yes.
from capoeira what you put into capoeira, and you really gotta know what you want from capoeira. So when you decide what you want from it, go after it.
Yes. Yes. No, that's awesome. He's in never stop training. So you
Yeah.
can get, so you can find out what it is.
Yep.
No, that's awesome. That's awesome.
Mhm.
And then, to wrap it up, what will be your social medias again, so people can find you, and can get that inspiration from you?
So Facebook is Kelly Lynn Amazona, and then Instagram is Kelly Amazona.
Nice. Awesome. So everybody listening, you better go follow, because we'll see you in the hotel. I'm just kidding. And then, well, thank you so much. Thank you so much for sharing your experience, and your capoeira experience, and your knowledge in history, in your Portuguese, everything. Thank you so much.
Thanks, Kashishi. I really appreciate the invite.
Yeah, of course. Anytime. So we'll stay in touch, and hopefully I get to see you in any event, and we can play together.
Of course, na volta do mundo, right?
Yes, exactly. Thank you so much.
All right, have a
Okay,
good one.
bye.
Bye.
Hey, I hope you like this video and you like this interview as I did. Please turn those notifications on. Please subscribe and comment down below your thoughts and any question you have for any capoeirist in the world. If you have one question, what it will be? Also, join me in this Capoeira podcast, because you or everyone in the Capoeira community have an experience to share. Even share the experience for people that never have done Capoeira, and they can understand, and they can join us too. Please share with your friends, share with everyone in the Capoeira community. Let them know the Capoeira podcast experience is open for everyone. Doesn't matter the group, doesn't matter where you come from, doesn't matter the planet, doesn't matter the earth, if you're from Mars, but if you do capoeira, I'm going to have you here. Okay, let's share this experience so awesome that capoeira give us. Okay, please comment down below, let us know what you think. Peace.